The story of India over the last couple of decades is just one of incredible economic transformation. It's a story of lifting more people out of poverty than anywhere else on Earth ever. But it's also a story of these huge, ongoing challenges. And to really understand this paradox, we gotta start with one single massive number.
378 million. I want you to just let that sink in for a second. That number is bigger than the entire population of the United States. But what does it actually represent?
That's right. In just 10 years, India pulled nearly 400 million of its own citizens out of poverty. That is, without a doubt, one of the greatest achievements in human history. So how on earth did this happen, and what's the data really telling us?
Okay, so to really get our heads around this monumental shift, we have to look past that big headline number. Because you see, poverty isn't just one thing, it's a complex picture, and the data tells this absolutely fascinating story from a bunch of different angles.
So what you're looking at here is the most severe form of poverty, what the World Bank calls extreme poverty. We're talking about living on less than $2.15 a day. In just over a decade, India slashed this rate from over 16% all the way down to just 2.3%. That's 171 million people moving beyond that bare-bones level of survival. It's a truly dramatic drop.
But here's the thing. Poverty is about so much more than just money, right? The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index gives us a much bigger picture. It looks beyond just income and includes things like health, education, and basic living standards. And wow, the trend here is just as mind-blowing. Over 15 years, India took the portion of its population in this kind of deep poverty from more than half down to just 16.4%. This just goes to show you the progress has been both deep and long-lasting.
Okay, so those numbers are incredible. They really are. But, and this is a big but, they don't tell the whole story. Success on this kind of scale rarely happens without creating new, really complex problems. And this is where that great Indian paradox really comes into sharp focus.
And this slide right here, it just lays out that core tension perfectly. On the one hand, you've got this historic, unbelievable victory over poverty. But on the other hand, the very economic engine that powered it all is now facing some serious headwinds. We're talking about slowing growth and a real struggle to create enough jobs for its massive and very young population.
So let's break these hurdles down. First, GDP growth has slowed to about 5.4%. Now, that might sound high to some, but for India, it's just not fast enough to create jobs for the millions of young people pouring into the workforce every single year. At the same time, you've got traditional farm jobs disappearing, and the cities just aren't creating new jobs fast enough to absorb everyone. This creates this really uneven progress, where 5 huge states, like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, are getting left behind, still stuck with really high levels of poverty. So, facing these challenges, what's being done? Well, the Indian government has rolled out some of the absolute largest welfare programs in the entire world. And these aren't just abstract policies on paper. They're designed to change people's lives at the most fundamental human level.
The scale here is just staggering. The PMGK-AI scheme alone provides free food to 800 million people. That's not a typo. Others are designed to provide clean cooking fuel, basic sanitation, affordable housing, and even piped drinking water directly to people's homes. You put it all together, and it forms this massive social safety net, basically raising the floor for hundreds of millions of people.
And this isn't just about statistics. It's about real people. People like Vimala Nayagan in Delhi. For her family, programs like the Sanitation Mission and the Affordable Housing Scheme weren't just policies. They were the difference between a really precarious life and having a safe home with clean water and a toilet. It's life-changing. We're also seeing these incredible success stories at the state level. In 2025, the state of Kerala became the very first in India to be declared extreme poverty-free. This is huge because it proves that with the right targeted policies, totally wiping out this kind of poverty isn't just a dream, it's actually an achievable goal. And this is also about making sure no one gets left behind, right? Reaching the most vulnerable people. In a small village called Kunjipati, a woman named Nayaka was able to use technology to access her disability benefits. A small intervention, maybe, but it made a massive difference for her family's financial stability.
So a lot of progress has been made, but you can't just rest on your laurels, right? The fight isn't over. As some challenges get solved, new ones pop up, and the path forward for India means navigating a world that's getting more and more complex, both at home and abroad.
So what are we talking about today? Well, for one, inflation. Rising prices for fuel and food are squeezing the budgets of the poorest families. At home, slow private investment is holding back the creation of new jobs. And looking just over the horizon, you've got massive technological disruption from things like AI and automation that could threaten millions of jobs. These are the new frontiers in the battle.
So what's the game plan? Well, experts are pointing to a kind of four-part strategy for sustainable growth. First, you've got to create jobs by boosting small and medium businesses. Next, you have to equip the workforce with modern skills through better education. Third, you've got to unlock the massive economic potential of women with targeted support. And finally, holding it all together is the absolute need for transparency to fight corruption and make sure these benefits actually get to the people who need them most.
Which brings us right back to where we started, the great Indian paradox. We're looking at a nation that has achieved something truly miraculous, but whose work is, well, it's far from done. The goal now is no longer just about lifting people above some arbitrary poverty line. It's about making sure they can actually thrive.
So the ultimate question, the one that really matters, is this. After achieving the unimaginable, can India build a truly inclusive society where the benefits of its incredible growth story are actually shared by everyone? The answer to that question will define not just the future of a nation, but maybe the future of global development for all of us.